Kindly consider sharing, liking, and commenting on our videos. Your engagement plays a significant role in influencing YouTube's recommendation algorithm and reach to the global audience. We kindly request that you refrain from downloading and uploading our videos to other platforms as it affects our viewership and subscriptions. Instead, we would appreciate it if you could share the provided links directly. Thank you for your cooperation.
Self-proclaimed prophet Shepherd Bushiri might be facing more than just fraud and money laundering charges. Police have confirmed they're investigating alleged rape.
In our previous video, we conducted an extensive investigation into the unchecked influence of the prosperity gospel within the Ethiopian government. Our investigation also unveiled that Ethiopian government policies are notably influenced by the religious teachings of the prosperity gospel and the ideology of Oromo nationalism. As we demonstrated, this approach triggered a chain reaction, with each misguided choice leading to another, ultimately resulting in a vicious cycle of violence, civil wars, genocides, atrocities, and widespread poverty. It is worth noting that if a single pastor can defraud and lead many into poverty, one can only imagine the consequences when an individual in a position of power, with absolute end-to-end control over a nation, follows a similar path. In this investigative documentary, we're going to dissect the tangled web of connections between that fugitive, Pastor Shepherd Bushiri, who's facing accusations of fraud, rape, and money laundering in both South Africa and the United States, and his unsettling relationships with Ethiopian government officials. Pastor Bushiri is self-proclaimed prophet, often cited as one of Africa's wealthiest pastors, amassing an estimated fortune of $150 million. His extravagant lifestyle includes private jets, luxury cars, and a portfolio of various properties. His investment company, Shepherd Bushiri Investments, has found itself entangled in numerous allegations of fraud and money laundering, leading to the seizure of some assets due to its association with a Ponzi scheme. The company even faced a lawsuit in the United States for fraud. In a deeply troubling development, the South African police charged Bushiri with 16 counts of rape, involving 8 different victims in March 2021. He has also made audacious claims of performing extraordinary acts, like supposedly restoring sight to the blind and appearing to defy gravity by seemingly walking on air. Additionally, Bushiri has made unverified assertions about curing HIV, which prompted Botswana to temporarily ban his entry into the country. He remains a fugitive who managed to escape from South Africa. Back in 2017, Bushiri allegedly promoted a get-rich-quick program to his church members, promising a 50% profit within a month if they pledged around $6,500 or more to his commodity investment opportunity. Unfortunately, many participants who invested their savings in this program reported significant financial losses.
Controversial prophet Shepherd Bushiri has been arrested. The Enlightened Christian Gathering Church's leader is facing fraud and money laundering charges. He was arrested in...
The couple was arrested for a second time.
Malawi on Monday agreed to South Africa's request to extradite televangelist Shepherd Bushiri. The couple is facing theft, fraud and money laundering charges. They jumped bail and fled to Malawi in November.
It's alleged in 2017 Bushiri introduced a scheme where he promised his members high returns with investments of between 100,000 and 1 million rand.
And I've created 2 platforms, one for commodities and one for forex trading.
Some of the money was deposited into a company account called Rising Estates, which belongs to Bushiri's co-accused Villa Mudolo.
And these are not platforms where you say, if I put in money, would I lose? No. These are platforms when you invest, you go home and sit down and relax and drink coffee and have millions entering in your account.
But 2 years after, investors realized that those words were hollow.
On the depression, there's a lady who actually got a stroke because she lost everything that she had.
For allegedly transporting an estimated 15 million rand monthly out of South Africa to his country, Malawi, in his private jet.
In 2014, a momentous year unfolded in the context of the prosperity gospel's journey in Ethiopia. Self-proclaimed prophet of doom, Shepherd Bushiri visited Ethiopia and held meetings with a horde of high-ranking, fanatical prosperity gospel zealots who had infiltrated the highest echelons of public office, corrupting the very soul of the nation. Among the pitiful sycophants who groveled at his feet were Prime Minister Hailemariam, Abiy Ahmed, and the disgraced former Oromia region president, Aba Dula. This unholy congregation of charlatans and opportunists would leave an indelible scar on the already beleaguered fabric of Ethiopian society, casting a shadow of disgrace that still lingers to this day. The meeting's result was profoundly impactful. With the endorsement and support of Aba Dula and Hailemariam, Bushiri was granted permission to introduce the prosperity gospel to Ethiopia. Here's what Bushiri shared on Facebook following a productive meeting with Hailemariam, Desalegn, and Aba Dula.
The Prime Minister of Ethiopia, His Excellency Hailemariam and Honorable Aba Dula, the Speaker of Parliament for Ethiopia, saying, "Well done, Prophet Shepherd Bushiri, for bringing record-breaking prophetic revival in Ethiopia. If such top government officials can recognize the move of God, it means something has happened in the nation."
Following this decision, numerous self-proclaimed preachers, trained by Bushiri, flooded the nation. Their practices revolved around manipulative schemes, ruthlessly exploiting and defrauding those who were already less fortunate, all the while deceitfully dangling the illusion of a path to prosperity. To those who found themselves trapped with seemingly no alternatives, placing their faith in miracles often appeared as their sole lifeline. This heartbreaking vulnerability made it disturbingly simple for these self-proclaimed preachers to prey upon the desperate and downtrodden, adding to their misery and suffering. The prosperity gospel, known for its role in driving millions of Africans into poverty and exacerbating various societal problems. In response to this alarming trend, Rwanda took resolute actions, shuttering numerous deceitful churches that preyed upon the desperate and vulnerable. The official association of Abiy, Aba Dula, and Hailemariam, individuals responsible for the well-being of 120 million citizens, with a serial rapist, a notorious fraudster, and a prolific scammer, is deeply disturbing. They are, in essence, culpable by their associations for permitting the exploitation of impoverished Ethiopians by these fraudulent prophets and preachers, who are given free rein and even legal legitimacy to scam and exploit vulnerable citizens. Aba Dula, the former Oromo regional president, is known to be a staunch adherent of the prosperity gospel. His influence extends to mentoring and facilitating the rise of numerous Oromo politicians to positions of power. Aba Dula association with corruption is well documented, and in 2015, he was exposed for obtaining fake degrees from a diploma mill. The prevalence of counterfeit educational credentials in Oromia has been a deeply troubling scandal. With the purported blessings and guidance of Aba Dula, numerous Oromo politicians have assumed positions within Ethiopia's government based on these fraudulent degrees. In a similar vein, Abiy Ahmed's academic background, including his claimed doctorate, is shrouded in a complex web of plagiarism, perplexing omissions, and unanswered questions. The notion that he might be celebrated as the first person to attain a doctorate without even completing high school. In the year 2018, a notable political transition occurred in Ethiopia. Hailemariam, who had been in a position of leadership, decided to step down from his role, relinquishing power to Abiy Ahmed.
In a televised address, Hailemariam Desalegn said his resignation was vital for achieving.
Abiy Ahmed has been sworn in. Abiy took the oath of office. He becomes the first ethnic Oromo to be prime minister. The country.
When Abiy assumed leadership, he was a relatively unknown figure to many Ethiopians. He had affiliations with the discreet prosperity gospel faction within the EPRDF government and was an active member of the Oromo Democratic Party. Aba Dula, a mentor and recruiter of Oromo new leaders, considered Abiy one of his protégés. As Abiy later publicly confessed, they were actively involved in efforts to sabotage, conspire, and plot to undermine the established Tigray-led EPRDF government through subversion. Hailemariam expressed a belief that Abiy's rise to leadership bore the markings of divine intervention.
The political transformation in 2018 that propelled Abiy to power was undoubtedly a part of God's plan. I strongly believe that God himself orchestrated this transition. While some may view this idea as laughable, I am resolute in my belief that God is the architect behind this change. When it comes to our Prime Minister, Abiy Ahmed, I believe that when God intends to instigate change, he doesn't descend from the heavens. Instead, he operates through individuals. In my view, our Prime Minister has been divinely selected, a conviction I've held for quite some time. Did you know that he's going to be a Prime Minister? Not just being Prime Minister. I knew also he was chosen by God.
Owing to his close association with Ethiopian officials, Bushiri was privy to the ongoing discussions about peace between Ethiopia and Eritrea. Taking advantage of this knowledge, he made a prophetic statement about the peace agreement. When the peace deal was eventually realized, he used it to enhance his image and further deceive and scam his vulnerable and trusting followers. Abiy was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize due to the Ethiopia-Eritrea agreement, which brought hope for peace in the region. However, recent developments have raised concerns. Abiy's sudden declaration of intent to forcibly acquire Eritrea's port is alarming and has the potential to escalate tensions, possibly triggering a regional conflict. There's a reasonable suspicion that his impulsive, aggressive, and unpredictable actions and rhetoric may be influenced by some form of divine or spiritual guidance or prophecy. Such a mentality has the potential to destabilize the entire Horn of Africa.
Do you explain congregants paying 5,000 rand for a one-on-one consultation with you on spiritual matters? How do you explain congregants paying 25,000 rand of sharing the same table with you at a gala dinner?
Wow. I think the gala dinner issue was just a false story.
Let's start with the fact that people pay to enter church. And what about the sale of these so-called prophetic healing products, such as olive oil, such as holy water? Bottle of bottled water, 750 mils, can cost as much as 500 rand.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that is true. You know,
how much do you sell your products then?
I don't even know, because I'm not in the Department of Sales.
So shouldn't it be the public's right to know about the alleged illegal dealings that go on in your church? You pay people to give false testimonies, and you perform false miracles in your church. The financial state of many of your congregants in South Africa, they're impoverished. They take loans to pay 5,000 rand to consult with you. They pay loans to come to your church. Some of them are even impoverished.
You are right,
but you are spending their money to buy
not their
$1
money.
million rand.
No. Not the money. You actually asked me a good question. You said, as a businessman. So I love you for that, because you know me.
A official in the Home Affairs Department has been fired for gross negligence and dishonesty. This follows the granting of permanent residence to fugitive Shepherd Bushiri. Minister Aaron Motsoaledi says the official is...
Shortly after assuming power, Abiy initiated a series of changes in the Ethiopian political landscape that mirrored the principles of the prosperity gospel. He appointed numerous believers in this ideology to key government positions, effectively sidelining the significant majority of Ethiopians who adhere to traditional Christian theology and the Muslim faith. Abiy Ahmed seems to rule Ethiopia as if he were a divinely ordained self-serving pastor, treating the Ethiopian people as gullible followers who need his salvation. He conducts himself just like those detestable prosperity gospel pastors who shamelessly drain the pockets of the poor and lead opulent lifestyles, all while showing utter disregard to their suffering. The construction of a $15 billion palace in one of the world's most impoverished country is downright immoral, no matter how you spin it. But within the warped context of the prosperity gospel, such extravagance is apparently acceptable. Billions are spent on extravagant projects, while the nation's infrastructure deteriorates amidst a civil war. With 28 million Ethiopians dependent on international food aid, and 5 million displaced due to ethnic conflicts under his leadership. The core tenets of the prosperity gospel is the belief that positive speech leads to positive results. Abiy Ahmed consistently adheres to this principle, and it is reflected in his public communication. He rarely addresses the daily struggles, atrocities, civil war, or poverty that has plagued Ethiopia for the past 5 years. When pressed for answers about gruesome incidents, he frequently resorts to mocking, or even worse, trivializing famines and atrocities. In his twisted perspective, the mind-boggling delusion of incessantly spouting positive rhetoric while brazenly turning a blind eye to the brutal facts and shamelessly pouring public money into useless resorts, extravagant palaces, endless parking lots, and the ludicrous expectation of miraculous change has ruthlessly wreaked havoc on Ethiopia's society. Abiy's economic policy is outrageously grounded in the prosperity gospel doctrine. Financial success and blessings serve as direct indicators of an individual's faithfulness and alignment with God. According to Abiy, Ethiopians are suffering because they lack faith, and he shockingly suggests they deserve their own suffering. Since coming to power, there is a glaring absence of any substantial investment or policies aimed at alleviating poverty in Ethiopia. In fact, his Prosperity Party is actively avoid even mentioning the word poverty, according to Abiy senior advisor. This denial not only downplays the gravity of the situation, but also gravely obstructs the development of meaningful policies and initiatives intended to alleviate the suffering and enhance the socio-economic status of those affected. Abiy attributes the ongoing suffering of Ethiopians due to poverty, civil war, and attributes to a divine plan, believing that it is destined to happen due to God's will. The immeasurable suffering endured in the last 5 years stands as a poignant testament to the challenges and hardships faced by the people of Ethiopia during this period.
Ethiopia's influential Orthodox Church is facing a crisis that sparked
the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, among the world's most ancient Christian denomination, has recently experienced targeted attacks orchestrated by Abiy Ahmed, Oromo nationalists, and adherents of the prosperity gospel. These attacks were primarily driven by the profound divergence in teachings between the traditional beliefs of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and the prosperity gospel. The government and followers of the prosperity gospel viewed the Ethiopian Orthodox Church's teachings as a challenge to their expansion due to their fundamentally contrasting interpretations of Christianity. Ethiopian Orthodox Christianity recognizes suffering and pain as inherent aspects of the human experience stemming from humanity's fall and the presence of sin in the world. Within this theological framework, there's a profound emphasis on enduring suffering and discovering purpose within it, often drawing inspiration from the trials faced by biblical figures as a testament to their unwavering faith. Traditional Christian teachings prioritize core values such as humility, compassion, and a commitment to serving others. In this worldview, disparities in wealth, health, and life circumstances are not seen as divisions, but rather as opportunities for demonstrating empathy, extending charity, and providing assistance to those in need. When it comes to interpreting the Bible, traditional Christians adopt a broader perspective, considering its entire message. This comprehensive approach includes teachings on suffering, sacrifice, and the prioritization of spiritual wealth over material riches. At its core, traditional Christian faith revolves around an unwavering trust in God, irrespective of one's circumstances. It doesn't promise material wealth or a life free from suffering, but it does offer a wellspring of hope, inner strength, and solace when facing life's various challenges.
Ethiopia is mired in the clutches of a leader who shamelessly exploits a nauseating cult-like following and unshakable ethnic manipulation for his own greedy gains. The time for Ethiopians to rise up and remove this deluded mad despot is long overdue. Ethiopia can't stomach one more wretched day under his oppressive rule. Each passing day hurls us deeper into a pit of despair, forging a nightmarish normal that's tearing the nation apart. Everyone shout, "Enough!" from the depths of our souls. Enough of the bloodshed, enough of the mockery of our suffering, enough of the ethnic cleansing of Amhara, enough of the massacres, enough of the persecution of Orthodox Christians, enough of the lies, enough of the travesty of justice.